gbogbo ẹ̀yin ọmọ ọ̀dọ́ tá a jọ ń káàkiri ọ̀dọ́jọ́ ni wá ẹ má jẹ́ kí a fi àyè gba Fúlàní lórí ilẹ̀ àwọn bàbá wa ẹ má jẹ́ ká bú ọba mọ́ ẹ má jẹ́ ká bú jòyè mọ́ nígbà tá a la fẹ́ jà fún àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ wa táwa ń kọ́kọ́ ń bú ọba tá à ń bú jòyè èmi náà ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ rí bọ́mọ pẹ́rẹ́ àmì padà ẹ má jẹ́ ká bú àgbààgbà kankan mọ́ ẹ má bolóṣèlú kankan ẹ̀rù kálukú ń bẹ̀rù wọn ò lè sọ̀rọ̀ ọba ò lè sọ ìjòyè lè sọ ẹ jẹ́ ká ronú ẹ má jẹ́ ká bá àwọn bàbá jà mọ́ ẹ má jẹ́ bú wọn mọ́ ẹ má jẹ́ àṣẹ wọn ra wọn ra pẹ̀lú wọn àwọn àgbà tó bá jó lóṣèlú tá a bá fẹ́ kọ́ wọn rìn wá lọ́wọ́ á gbé wọn mọ́ra á gbé wọn mọ́ra ni à ní bú wọn mọ́ ẹ má jẹ́ àṣejẹ̀gbọ́n ẹ má jẹ́ àdàlúrú a lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì ṣèjẹ̀gbọ́n a lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì yìnbọn a lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì dàlúrú gbogbo protest mo ṣe ní ìlú Nàìjíríà mi ò rí ibi tí mo ti ẹnìkan lè sọ pé mo pààyàn tàbí mo jó nǹkan náà tàbí mo bà nǹkan jẹ́ mo lọ písù torí pé olówó lèmi náà tí ò bá sólówó lára ń dì mọ́ gbogbo nǹkan tó lọ́n fún yẹn lọ́lọ́run fún mi mi ṣe tálákà tó dé pé mo dìde fún jà Yorùbá big man ni mi àwọn tó jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi tó súnmọ́ mi tó ní owó ní kí ni mo wá lọ bẹ̀ pé sọ́wọ́ lè mi mò ń fẹ́ ni kí n sọ yìí tí mo fẹ́ mo ní ìsọ̀rọ̀ owó àní ọ̀rọ̀ ìran mi ni mò ń sọ kí n wọ gbowó kí n gbéra kí n pé mò ń lọ ọ̀dọ̀ ọba àgbowó mò ń lọ ọ̀dọ̀ oníbodè òfin gbowó kí n kójó wọlé kọ́kàn mi balẹ̀ kí n dá wa mọ́tò kí n mọ́ rìn bọ̀ kí Fúlàní mọ́ da mi dúró títì kí n délé kí bàbá sọ pé kí n gbé tírélà sùn kí n mọ́ gbé lọ àwọn bàbá wo lè lóko mọ́ wọn ò lè lóńdò ẹ jẹ́ ká fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ ká ti àwọn bàbá wa lẹ́yìn ká dá security ti wá lẹ̀ ká sọ fún wọn kí wọ́n bá wa fọwọ́ tì í ká lé wọn kó nu oko wa ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́ Jésù Olúwa wa.
KOIKIMEDIA, we're bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
KOIKIMEDIA, 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 we bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
KOIKIMEDIA, 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 we bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
Àwọn sálára àgbà yìí dá, àwa ló láṣà àti èdè. Gbígbédè lárugẹ nílẹ̀ Oòduà o, àwa gangan ni bàbá.
KOIKIMEDIA, 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 we bringing the world closer to your doorstep.
They never sabi wetin we carry for her.
But they move closer before they go sabi.
I said they never know wetin we carry for body.
But they move closer before they go sabi.
Ọ̀kín lọ lọ́jà ẹyẹ, kìnìún ló ló lajú.
Ẹyẹ tó lórí kodò bí àdán, ọ̀pẹ̀jẹ̀ lẹ́nu.
Ká ṣiṣẹ́ fún ilẹ̀ bàbá wa, ká ṣiṣẹ́ fún ìlú bàbá wa, ká jùmọ̀ sowọ́pọ̀ ká lè kó Odùduwà ga.
Odùduwà kò bá lè gbé wá.
Ọmọ Odùduwà ṣe gírí, ẹ dìde fún ẹ̀tọ́ adúláwọ̀, ká lè jọ jùmọ̀ gbé délẹ̀ ìlérí, ká wálé gba ògo ilẹ̀ wa, ká ṣiṣẹ́ ká lè jọ gbàdé, ká lè gbàdé adé adúláwọ̀, àwa ni mọ̀lẹ̀ tí yóò tàn káàkiri.
Pé ọmọ Odùduwà ni wá.
KOIKIMEDIA, àwa là ń gbé tó lárugẹ.
Ètò tó pọ̀jù owó tiwa máa ní.
Kásá ẹgbẹ́ polówó ọjà wá kájé bùgbà yín jẹ.
Ètò tó pọ̀jù owó tiwa máa ní.
À ń gbé tó lárugẹ, à ń gbàsà lárugẹ.
Ètò tó pọ̀jù owó tiwa máa ní.
News and sports ẹ máa rí gbọ́.
Ètò tó pọ̀jù owó tiwa máa ní.
Ọmọ Ìjẹ̀bú alárẹ̀ mi ló ní kí n máa ké tantan. KOIKIMEDIA, ọ̀rọ̀ lágbájúmọ̀ mi o, máa bá ṣẹ̀rẹ̀ lọ o. Ọmọ Yorùbá nìyẹn, ọmọ Yorùbá tata o. À ń gbádùn rẹ, ọmọ Ìjẹ̀bú alárẹ̀ mi, ṣẹ́yìn ló máa fi dìbò tẹ̀ mọ́lẹ̀ o. Ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ onígbò máa ń dé máa dé máa dé, ẹ̀yin lọ́mọ onígbò máa wọ̀ máa wọ̀ máa wọ̀ o. Igbó máa wọ̀ tó àjòjì ò gbọ́dọ̀ wọ̀, àjòjì tó bá wọ̀ bẹ́ẹ̀ á tẹ̀lé ní ẹbọra. ẹ̀yin lọ máa náwó kóyìnbó tó dé ìgbà tó yìnbó dé o owó náà dẹ́ tún pọ̀ sí o Koiki Media ṣàwa ní bàbá. Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Àdáńtọ́ àtúnpèrègèdè.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Àwa là ń gbé tò lárugẹ jẹ́ ká jọ gbọ́ o.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Àtúnjàfẹ́tọ̀ ilẹ̀ wa fẹ́tọ̀ ilẹ̀ Yorùbá.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Ọmọ Òdùwà ni wá o tọkàntọkàn.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Ikú tí ó ṣe bí lébi òsì àdìmú bàbá iyọ̀.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
We bring you up closer to your doorstep.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Afẹ́fẹ́ tó ń fẹ́ o tó ń kàngi oko lára ni.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Àpèrègèdè Olódùmarè ló fún wa ṣe.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Gbogbo ayé ẹ gbọ́ àwa ní bàbá o.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Ẹ máa bọ̀ wá ẹ gbé polówó ọjà yín wá o.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Òdúdúwà la gbé dání òtítọ́ la gbé dání.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
A kì í sọ̀dálẹ̀ a kì í sọdí kẹta.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Àdúró tán a tún pèrègèdè.
Koiki Media àwọn ní bàbá.
Koiki Media we bring you up closer to your doorstep.
Àwọn ní bàbá.
Koiki Media is around.
To give us latest.
Is around o.
Give us latest.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Ẹ mú kalẹ̀ sílẹ̀. Ẹ tẹ́tí ẹ gbọ́ ètò tó kojú gbogbo.
ladies and gentlemen,
Ẹ mú kalẹ̀ sílẹ̀. Ẹ tẹ́tí ẹ gbọ́ ètò tó kojú gbogbo.
Koiki Media is around.
To give us latest.
Koiki.
Mo kí gbogbo wa pé ẹ káàbọ̀ sórí ìkànnì wa, ìkànnì aláyọ̀ tí a mọ̀ sí Koiki Media Live. Èyí sì ni 17th day of the month of August 2024. First, I have the latest development for us, and I will also want us to please listen, attentively, because it's very, very important, especially for the upcoming event in London. Mo kí gbogbo alẹ́ nǹkan sí pé ẹ kálẹ́, ẹ dẹ̀ káàbọ̀ sórí ìkànnì wa tí a mọ̀ sí Koiki Media, bringing the world closer to your doorstep. As we say on this platform, there's a lot, we discuss here. The focus is Yoruba nation self-determination. I'm sure many of you know that. But there's a big event coming up in London, and this event has gone into a detailed planned and all arrangement prepared. And I want us to listen because there is a slight change in one of the dates of the event. and I'll be giving us all those information in just about a few minutes. Mo kí gbogbo wa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí pé kíkí àlàáfíà, kíkí ti ọmọlúàbí ti àwa ìran ọmọ aládé tí a mọ̀ sí Yoruba Nation and all everyone and everybody that believes that the Yoruba people should be free from the dungeon and the bondage of Nigeria. As we are about to go into this program, I want you to remember that we are doing this because a nífẹ̀ẹ́ ìran wa. Kò dẹ̀ ń ṣàwa nìkan la nífẹ̀ẹ́, ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ tó nífẹ̀ẹ́ ni wọ́n kàn sí wa pé ẹ kú iṣẹ́ takuntakun, ẹ kú iṣẹ́ ìran yín. Mo kí bàbá wa Professor ADEBANJI Akintoye that remains our strong leader in this movement. At 89 years old, Baba will be 90, God willing, next year. We can always say we love him, we appreciate him for bringing us to date that the Yoruba people are better off to become an independent country as against Nigeria. As we are preparing for the program, and I'm just trying to get my, I'm not sure what's going on with my camera. My external camera is not picking, so let's see why. Mokiwakwe, let us not allow distractions to come in between. There are so many people that will tell you it is not going to happen, it can never happen, and such and such. Please do not listen to such individuals. The Yoruba people are going to be free, and we will be free. There's no doubt about it, and there's no amount of what anybody can say, because being free is an inalienable right. Let me quickly just, bring this in before we go dive into the discussion. Yeah, and I think I've got my camera there because I have a latest development about the dinner, not the rally. The rally remains as it is planned, but there is a slight change with the date of the dinner. So I want us to listen, but I'm going to bring that up in a minute. It hasn't changed that will affect anybody. It is still on a very good note, and I can tell you that, the organizing team are working tirelessly, that they are expecting at least nothing less than 150 people to my Oluwole jẹun ní ìgbà tí wọ́n máa ṣọjọ́ bí wọn ní London pẹ̀lú wa lágbára Elédùmarè. So let us, crack that in, because I want to give you also the venue of the dinner. The dinner is only for those that have purchased the ticket. But for the rally, for anybody that wants to join. So, this is the latest update on the dinner that will be held for Dr. Chief Sunday Adeyemo Igboho. That dinner date is now 11th October 2024. I repeat again, is 11th of October 2024, which is a Friday evening. That dinner will be held at the London Kensington, 179199 Holland Park Avenue, London, W114UL, United Kingdom. The dinner is 7 p.m. to 12 midnight. Let me repeat that again. Fún gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n ti ra ticket láti wá fún dinner, láti wá bá bàbá wa lóyè celebrate birthday wọn, ìyẹn Chief Dr. Sunday Adeyemo Májàsọ́lá Àdìsá aka Igboho Òòṣà ní London. Dinner yẹn máa wáyé ní 11th October 2024. Ó bọ́ síjọ́ Friday as against the Thursday tí dinner yẹn fi wá tẹ́lẹ̀. Dinner yẹn máa wáyé ní ìjọ́ Friday, Friday 11th, I believe ọjọ́ kọkànlá nínú oṣù kẹwàá ọdún 2024. The venue hasn't changed. There's a parking in the hotel, and there's also parking in the surrounding. It's also close to the nearest tube station, which is Shepherd's Bush. For further details, you can reach out to myself or as many other of our committee members that have worked tirelessly, and they are still working to make sure that not just the dinner, we are also expecting a full rally the next day. So dinner is £100 for anybody that wants to attend the dinner pẹ̀lú bàbá wa Olóyè Ìgbòho per ticket. And then ní rally date, the date is still Saturday. Nothing has changed with the rally. It is still the same starting point. It is the BBC, which is also in central London. Fanfan àwọn tí ó bá fẹ́ darapọ̀ mọ́ wa ní rally. Also, the Saturday will be the 12th October 2024. Ọjọ́ kejìlá oṣù kẹwàá nínú ọdún 2024. Ìyẹn ni rally máa wáyé tá pè ní the 1 million rally. That rally, again, well prepared, looking forward to it, between the committee, Bedu, and the rest of the team, myself, and Heritage, and many others that will be participating to make sure that we will all take our beautiful outfit, sleeves which is £25. Fẹ́ni tó bá láǹfààní tó fẹ́ rà á, because the weather will have changed, and then you can also come in with yours, but the sleeves is £25. Fẹ́ni tó bá fẹ́. That venue for the rally will come up from the BBC studio, and I'll also be telling you the full address. The nearest tube station, Nijo, Saturday at 10 a.m. We expect everybody to line up at 10 a.m. because we will then walk from the BBC all the way through the High Road, which is the Oxford Street, going into Trafalgar Square, heading into there. From there, we will head into number 10 Downing Street, and then we will head into the Parliament. From the Parliament, we then head back into the Nigerian High Commission in London at number 9 Otumbaland. Then we come back out again to Trafalgar Square. The procession is all being well prepared and laid. The Metropolitan Police is already aware that we are holding a rally in London, as we also can tell you that. So, fẹ́ni tó fẹ́ wá fún rally, the location of the rally will be from the BBC studio, which also has a bus, an open roof bus. The open roof bus is for the elderly, the physical challenge, and those that have one reason or the other that might not be able to walk a very long route. So once again, for those that want to attend this event, you can reach out to myself plus 4475 94050 or Kende Kentos plus 4475 7032 0030, Toyin Olaoye plus 4478 9601 8764, Ajia Queen Ara plus 4479 4631 3160. You can also reach out to Abike Akipelu plus 4479 3972 608. Or you can also reach out to Bedu Magazine on the number below as well, which is going to be plus 4477 9301 768. This is the latest development. Ẹni tó bá fẹ́ ra sleeves, you can wear anything that has Yoruba nation or has what represent us as our culture. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ Yoruba. Come with your flyers, with your flags. I'm sure some of us have it. You can also come with as many of your banners. There will be also a drum. There will be many other activities. And we're also having some special guests. I'll be announcing that in the due course. This announcement is coming from the organizing committee of the arrival of Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho to London on the 11th, where the dinner will be held. Then the Saturday, we head out straight for the Peaceful March rally, which is known as the 1 million rally in London. If you get this message and you are not too sure of whatever it is, let me know. Then on a Sunday, Igboho and the team will be heading to Manchester, which is going to be the 13th of October 2024. And that also for those in that north part of UK that might not make it down to the rally. But we expect as many of you to join us in the rally. Let us see. This is the latest update. The only date to change is the date of the dinner. From the Thursday, it has now been moved to the Friday. Your ticket is still valid if you have bought the ticket. And if you haven't have a ticket yet, please reach out to us. There is still some available seats, but I can tell you the seats are going very, very fast. My name is Koiki, also a member of the committee and also the spokesman for Dr. Chief Sunday Igboho. We'll be telling you more about this event as we go into the program, and the Yoruba World Media will be making more announcements as well. In 17th of August 2024 on the KOIKIMEDIA live broadcast. So that is on that, and then we can then come back out and then start looking into the discussion for this evening. There's a lot to catch up with. As you are lórí security, mo gbọ́dọ̀ kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ ti darapọ̀ mọ́ mi lórí ìkànnì yìí. Tó bá jẹ́ lákọ̀ọ́kọ́ yín ni ẹ máa kọ́kọ́ rí ètò yìí, bóyá ẹ mọ̀ tá à ń ṣe ní bíbà àti pé ó ṣeé ṣe pé bóyá notification kan tí ìgbà tẹ́ wo fídíò kan tán lè dọ́dọ̀ yín. Èmi ni wọ́n ń pè ní Ọláyọmí Koiki tí gbogbo èèyàn mọ̀ sí Koiki Media, lára àwọn àjìjàǹgbara fún ilẹ̀ òmìnira Yorùbá tá à ń pètò fún, tí a dẹ̀ mọ̀ pé bó pẹ́ bóyá gbogbo àwọn tí wọ́n ń di pé kó má bọ́ sí wọ́n máa gbà pé òun nìkan ni ìrìn àjò tó kù láti fi kúrò nínú oko ẹrú. So mo kí wa pé ẹ káalẹ́ o. Ṣé dáadáa ni mo bá yín? Ṣé ẹ láìkí aṣọ tá fi ṣòkú? Tí bá ti ń wọ̀, inú mi á máa dùn, ara mi á máa yá gágá, torí pé nígbà tí ìyá ẹ̀ tó máa jáde láyé, ó béèrè lọ́wọ́ bàbá wa ìyẹn olóyè Ìgbòho pé kí lóun lè ṣe gẹ́gẹ́ bí abiyamọ òtítọ́ tí ọmọ ẹ̀ ti wà nínú ibi tí wọ́n fi sí ní ọdún méjì, tí a dúpẹ́ pé wọ́n bá wa láyé ní àlàáfíà, torí ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ èèyàn bá rìnrìn àjò bẹ́ẹ̀ ó lè má padà, àmọ́ Ọlọ́run ò ṣe ti bàbá wa olóyè Ìgbòho bẹ́ẹ̀. Ìyá ẹ̀ wá bi ọmọ rẹ̀ pé ọkọ mi, oní kò ní pẹ́ mọ́ kó tó wálé, ó tuntun ń pẹ́ ju in tó sọ fún mi lọ. Ó ní ó dáa, in tó ṣẹlẹ̀ ni pé gbogbo ohun tó yẹ ká ṣe náà, torí pé kò rúfin, kò dẹ̀ ṣe ìjọba àgbáyé, olóyè dẹ̀ ń ṣẹni tán wá, kò ń ṣe criminal, kò ń ṣe drug baron, kò ṣe kankan ju pé ó ń pè fún ìdáàbò lórí tá à ń sọ lọ gẹ́gẹ́ bí iṣẹ́ tí bàbá wa Akintoye gbélé wa lọ́wọ́ pé ká fi máa bá àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá sọ̀rọ̀. Ìntólóyè gbé jáde tó fi di pé ìjọba Buhari àti Yẹmí Ọ̀sínbàjò tó ní kó lọ pa sílé, pé torí pé tó bá pa sílé àwọn Fúlàní tó ń pa wá, tó ń jí wa gbé, àwọn á lè máa ṣiṣẹ́ ọṣẹ́ tó ń ṣe lọ. Gẹ́gẹ́ bí ẹni tó nífẹ̀ẹ́ ìran ẹ̀, ó jáde, ìyá rẹ̀ ò dí lọ́wọ́, ìyá rẹ̀ ò sọ pé in tó fẹ́ lọ ṣe yìí ǹjẹ́ kò ní léwu ju ẹ̀mí ẹ̀ lọ. Olóyè bá bẹ̀rẹ̀ iṣẹ́ pẹ̀lú ọmọ Yorùbá, ni ó di pé wó di oríṣiríṣi nǹkan tí gbogbo wa mọ̀. Nígbà tó dẹ̀ di bó ṣe lọ, gbogbo wa la rántí pé July 1st ni wọ́n wá ká olóyè mọ́lé. Ọlọ́run tó yọ ọ́ ni kò jẹ́ kí ó bá lọ. Àmọ́ àwọn méjì tó jẹ́ kan nú àwọn akíkanjú ọmọ Yorùbá tí òkú wọn ṣì ń bẹ lọ́wọ́ federal government, ìyẹn Aṣíwájú Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu, tí à ń bẹ̀ pé kó bá wa fi òkú yẹn sílẹ̀ kí a lè fún wọn ní ètò ìsìnkú gẹ́gẹ́ bí ìlànà mùsùlùmí táwọn méjèèjì jẹ́. Ó ti lọ pọ́dún mẹ́ta báyìí tí òkú yìí ti wà lọ́wọ́ wọn. Nígbà tó rí olóyè mú ni wọ́n pààyàn sínú ilé ẹ̀, wọ́n kó àwọn kan lọ, àṣìṣe àrí wọn gbà sílẹ̀. Látara pé olóyè fẹ́ lọ kí àwọn ọmọ ẹ̀ padà ní Benin, ìyẹn ní July 20, 2021 ni wọ́n dá dúró sí Benin Republic. Lẹ́yìn ọdún méjì, ìyá ẹ̀ sọ pé kí ló ń dẹ dúró ọmọ mi? Ó ní in tó ń dá wa dúró náà ni pé gbogbo in tó fi ẹ̀sùn tó fi kàn mí wọn ò rí nǹkan kan mú nínú ẹ̀ jáde. Ta la máa wá bẹ̀ báyìí? Ó ní kò sẹ́ńtà tún lè bẹ̀ ju pé ká máa bí Ọlọ́run lọ. Abiyamọ òtítọ́. Ó ní ó dáa ká bí Ọlọ́run. Màá bẹ́ẹ̀ lọ jíṣẹ́ fọ́lọ́run. Nígbà tó máa tó jọ́ bíi méjì, olóyè pè mí. Ó ní coordinator, mo ní bàá mi ṣé kò sí? Ó ní màmá ti dákẹ́ láyé o. Mo ní màmá ẹ̀ wò ń bẹ̀. Torí pé kò sẹ́ni tó ro ikú sí màmá ẹ̀. Kò sick, àmọ́ gbogbo wa la mọ irú ikú tó pa màmá ẹ̀. Bólóyè bá wá náà ń bọ̀ ní UK, bó tẹ̀ jẹ́ yẹn nìkan ló bá rò mọ́ lára tó ro tìmí pé màmá tó bí ó fayé sílẹ̀ látara iṣẹ́ tọ́mọ ẹ̀ gbé dání tí kò dẹ̀ tí ì dẹ̀yìn. Èmi àtolóyè ti sọ̀rọ̀ kọjá lénìí, kò tí ì sọ fún mi pé òun ò ṣe Yorùbá nation mọ́. Mo dẹ̀ rò pé ó sọ ní kọ̀rọ̀ débi pé ẹ máa rìkọ́dẹ̀. Bó ṣe ń sọ ní gbangba ni pé ẹ tú wálẹ̀, kò mú jà dání. Ntólóyè sọ fún wa lélẹ̀ pé ọ̀rọ̀ tó wà ńlẹ̀ báyìí ló ṣe máa rí, ká máa fi gba ara wa kúrò. Ẹja.
Gbogbo ẹ̀yin ọmọ ọ̀dọ́ tá a jọ ń káàkiri ọ̀dọ́jọ ni wá, ẹ má jẹ́ kí a fi àyè gba Fúlàní lórí ilẹ̀ àwọn bàbá wa. Ẹ má jẹ́ ká bú ọba mọ́, ẹ má jẹ́ ká bújòyè mọ́. Nígbà tá a la fẹ́ jà fún àwọn ọ̀rẹ́ wa, táwa ń kọ́kọ́ ń bú ọba, tá à ń bújòyè. Èmi náà ṣe bẹ́ẹ̀ rí, bọ́ mo pera mi padà. Ẹ má jẹ́ ká bú àgbààgbà kankan mọ́, ẹ má bolóṣèlú kankan. Àwọn ẹ̀rù kálukú ń bẹ̀rù, wọn ò lè sọ̀rọ̀. Ọba ò lè sọ, ìjòyè lè sọ. Ẹ jẹ́ ká ronú. Ẹ má jẹ́ ká bá àwọn bàbá wa jà mọ́, ẹ má jẹ́ á bú wọn mọ́, ẹ má jẹ́ á ṣe wọ́n ra wọn ara pẹ̀lú wọn. Àwọn àgbà tán bá jó lóṣèlú, tá a bá fẹ́ kọ́ wọn rẹ̀ wá lọ́wọ́, á gbé wọn mọ́ra, á gbé wọn mọ́ra ni, à ní bú wọn mọ́. Ẹ má jẹ́ á ṣèjẹ̀gbọ́n, ẹ má jẹ́ á dàlúrú. A lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì ṣèjẹ̀gbọ́n. A lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì yìnbọn. A lè gba ẹ̀tọ́ wa láì dàlúrú. Gbogbo protest mo ṣe ní ìlú Nàìjíríà, mi ò rí ibi tí mo ti ẹnìkan lè sọ pé mo pààyàn tàbí mo jó nǹkan náà tàbí mo bà nǹkan jẹ́. Mo lọ písù torí pé olówó lèmi náà tí ò bá sólówó lára ń dì mọ́. Gbogbo nǹkan tọ́lọ́run fún yẹn lọ́lọ́run fún mi. Mi ṣe tálákà tó dé pé mo dìde fúnjà Yorùbá. Big man ni mí, àwọn tó jẹ́ ọ̀rẹ́ mi tó súnmọ́ mi tó ní owó ní kí ni mo wá lọ bẹ̀. Pé sọ́wọ́ ni mò ń fẹ́ ni kí n sọ yìí tí mo fẹ́, mo ní ìsọ̀rọ̀ owó. Àní ọ̀rọ̀ ìran mi ni mò ń sọ. Kí n wọ gbowó, kí n gbéra, kí n pé mò ń lọ ọ̀dọ̀ ọba àgbowó, mò ń lọ ọ̀dọ̀ oníbodè òfin gbowó, kí n kójó wọlé kọ́kàn mi balẹ̀, kí n dá wa mọ́tò kí n mọ́ rìn bọ̀, kí Fúlàní mọ́ dá mi dúró títì, kí n délé kí bàbá sọ pé kí n gbé tírélà sùn kí n mọ́ gbé lọ. Àwọn bàbá wo lè lóko mọ́, wọn ò lè lódò. Ẹ jẹ́ ká fọwọ́sowọ́pọ̀ ká ti àwọn bàbá wa lẹ́yìn, ká dá security ti wa lẹ̀, ká sọ fún wọn kí wọ́n bá wa fọwọ́ tì í, ká lé wọn kó nu oko wa. Ẹ ṣé mo dúpẹ́, Jésù Olúwa wa.
Ẹni tí kò bá mọ olóyè nígbà tó ń sọ̀rọ̀, olóyè ń sọ àwọn kankan gẹ́gẹ́ bí bí ṣe ń bá ètò yẹn bọ̀, torí pé ó ṣeé ṣe kẹ́lòmíì má tẹ̀ mọ ìdí pàtàkì tí olóyè ṣe ń kígbe. Ìntólóyè máa sọ, ó mà ṣì ń wá sí ìmúṣẹ. Ìntólóyè sọ lẹ́yìn ìgbà tí kò sí ní Nàìjíríà láti bí ọdún 2 àtààbọ̀ tó ti lé sẹ́yìn odi. Gbogbo tó ń sọ pátá kò tí ì sí yìí tí kò tí ì ṣẹlẹ̀. Kódà lẹ́yìn ìgbà tó mólóyè, a lè rí pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ẹ̀mí ni ó ti ṣòfò látara àwọn tí wọ́n jíyàn, ajíyàngbé, apààyàn tí a mọ̀ sí àwọn terrorist. Àmọ́ bàbá kan ó jẹ́ ká mọ̀ pé olóyè ń sọ the right thing, tí ó dẹ̀ ń gbéṣẹ́ lé lórí pé kó má ṣẹlẹ̀ nílẹ̀ Yorùbá. Àmọ́ ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ọmọ Yorùbá ní kò lè ṣẹlẹ̀. Lẹ́yìn tẹ́ ń wo fọ́nrán tó wà níwájú ká tó play fọ́nrán yẹn, lára àwọn emir tí wọ́n ṣẹ̀ mú, ìyẹn àwọn Fúlàní tó ti kidnap, òun ni fídíò tí arákùnrin tó jókòó yìí. Bí ìtẹ́ play fídíò yẹn, bẹ́ bá rí aṣọ yẹn, ẹ̀jẹ̀ ló wà lára aṣọ yẹn, ìyẹn tẹ́yìn tẹ́ ń wò wá lórí software. Arákùnrin yìí, òun náà rò pé ó ṣeé ṣe pé wọ́n máa jí òun gbé. Àmọ́ Ìntólóyè ń pariwo ní Southwest pé wọ́n ń jí wa gbé, wọ́n ń pààyàn, wọ́n ń ṣe gbogbo ẹ̀. Lọ́pọ̀lọpọ̀ ní tó ń sọ pé kò sí ẹ̀rí kankan níbẹ̀. Ẹ̀rí tó wá wà níbẹ̀ ni pé arákùnrin tó jókòó tẹ́ ń wò yìí, ó wà lára àwọn tí wọ́n ṣẹ̀ jí gbé. Kódà tá a bá tún ní ká lọ wo news tó ṣẹ̀ ṣẹlẹ̀ ní àìpẹ́ yìí, mò ń bọ̀, ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ sí news page, ká lọ gbọ́ àwọn tí wọ́n tún ṣẹ̀ kidnap ìyẹn àwọn Fúlàní kan náà tá à ń sọ yìí ni o kò wá ń ṣe pé ohun olóyè pé bó tẹ̀ jẹ́ ní south west bó bá tẹ̀ jẹ́ pé south west nìkan wọ́n ti ń kidnap wa ẹ̀wá tí kù yìí eléyìí ò ń ṣe ní last year terrorist gunmen kidnap 20 medical students in Nigeria in Benue State kódà they are now demanding 50 million naira ọlọ́pàá náà àwọn tí ń ṣiṣẹ́ báwọn ṣe máa rescue wọn. This is happening within the space of 24 hours. Bàbá tẹ́ fẹ́ gbọ́wọ̀n yìí òun náà ń pè ní I hope my mic is out. Okay. Mo kí gbogbo lélẹ̀ nǹkan sí. Bàbá tó ń pè yìí òun ni His Highness the Emir of Sabon Birin Local Government Area of Sokoto State, experiencing a brutal treatment in the hands of kidnappers. He served his state for more than 40 years, 4 decades. We can only pray that the authority will come to his aid. Ẹ jẹ́ agbọ́n tó ń sọ, ó lè jẹ́ èdè tí wọ́n ní, àmọ́ ẹ jẹ́ ká sì gbọ́ náà, fẹ́yìn tẹ́ bá gbọ́ Haúsá. À ń padà bọ̀ lọ́dọ̀ ikú tó pa màmá olóyè àti pé kí ni olóyè ṣe kí ni tó ń béèrè fún tí a ti rírí ara ẹ̀ náà ni a fẹ́ tún gbọ́ ohùn nínú fídíò tá a fẹ́ fi fọ́nrán ẹ̀wọ̀n yìí àwọn tó ń wo fídíò yẹn lórí software ẹ̀yin tó kù ẹ máa fetí gbọ́ tẹ̀lé máa bá wa ká lọ mo kí gbogbo lélẹ̀ nǹkan sí.
Ina sanar da 'yan uwana da masoyana da abokaina da shugabannina su sani an kai rana ta ƙarshe yau Laraba saboda haka in suna taimako na su taimake ni kuma ina sanar da su cewa wallahi mutanen gawa sun ma gashi da mu tunda gaskiya duk wanda aka yi sun yi amma gwamnatin ba ta taimake ni ba kuma ina dubin ta taimaka min duk halin da ya shiga duniya amma gwamnati ba ta taimake ni ba kuma ni ma'aikacin ta niki mai bauta man niki shekara da shekaru ina bauta mata shekara ta 74 yau
yanzu shekara kana mulki
aikin gwamnati na yi kusan shekara 45 ina yi ne kuma duk aikin sarauta na nike
to kai me sako shi
to ga kuma ina cikin jini to ina
ara ìdí tá a ṣe ń sọ pé àkókò ń ṣe lédè kan náà àmọ́ èdè tó ń sọ ó yé Ọlọ́run tó dáhùn náà bó ṣe dá wà náà ara èdè tí a fi ń sọ pé a kì í ṣe lédè kan náà. Bọ̀ bàbá kan sọ fún wa níbi ọdún mélòó kan sẹ́yìn pé ewu tó ń bọ̀ yìí tó lóyè ń try láti paná ẹ̀ pé ẹ jí wa gbé ẹ̀ ń pa wá ẹ̀ ń ṣe gbogbo tó ń wù yìí fún wa ó jẹ́ kó yé wa pé bí a bá sùn ju bó ṣe yẹ lọ wọ́n máa wọlé sí wa lára ju bá ṣe yẹ lọ. Àwọn ọba ilẹ̀ Yorùbá náà ti fara gbá àmọ́ ọba ilẹ̀ Haúsá bóyá Haúsá ni bíá Fúlàní ni ẹni tó mú yìí èmi mọ̀ kó tó bá yẹ pé Fúlàní ni ẹni tó mú yìí ní Sokoto tó sọ pé ó ti jẹ emir for 40 years kò ṣeé ṣe pé wọ́n máa mú mọ́lẹ̀ bọ̀ nígbà tí ó jẹ́ pé àwọn Fúlàní tí ó bá ráìdì Haúsá ìyẹn nílẹ̀ north ṣe rí pé àwọn náà go through the same problem. For the benefit of those that probably don't understand what I've been saying for the last couple of minutes, I am just going back again to a bit of history that we have been warned about the attacks, we have been warned about the failure of the insecurity in Nigeria. And that is why, the leader of the Yoruba nation, Professor ADEBANJI Akintoye, asked me to warn every sons and daughters of Yoruba that in the future of a country that we would have a better security system. A security system that works for the Yoruba people under what we call the good news, path to prosperity in our ORILEEDE Yoruba by Professor ADEBANJI Akintoye. And because we are currently on the week 13, which is the final week before we go to the next week, we shall have truly Yoruba National Military and Security Services. The role of a military and security services is to protect the citizens and the foreigners that will live with us in the near future. But the current state of Nigeria care less about the citizens. They are not doing much because the military has been compromised, and many innocent Nigerians, like these individual that we have just watched his video that has now been posted on the TikTok. You wonder where the DSS are, where the police are. Not just this individual. We also know that 20 medical students are no longer to be found in Nigeria. It shows now that Nigeria is a failed state. There's no doubt about it, and there's nobody that can tell us otherwise. For that reason alone, we have every reason and every right to now say we've had enough and we want to pull out of Nigeria. For more than a decade, civilians in Nigeria have faced multiple security threats and the risk of atrocities and result of attacks, kidnappings, extortion by various non-state armed groups. Benue State, Nigeria. No fewer than 20 medical and dental students and a house officer have now been kidnapped in Nigeria, Benue State, while en route to the Federation of Catholic Medical and Dental Students annual convention that is meant to take place in Enugu. The kidnap took place in Benue State, but they were heading to Enugu State. The students from the University of Maiduguri and the University of Jos were all traveling together when they were ambushed by the Fulani terrorists, not a very late hour, but just around 5:30 p.m. in Otukpo area of Benue State in the North Central State. Meanwhile, one of the victims has now been identified as the house officer named Dr. Lewis. According to the X account that report issues in the medical field at Nigerian_doctor, who also shared the information, have now appealed to the imbecile security that you have in the country agency for urgent intervention to rescue and the students and free the families from the trauma. Well, the trauma is going nowhere because this is not going to be the last time many Nigerians, innocent Nigerians, that should have been protected by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, a failure, and also a non-actor that decided that security is not his priority. So, these students from the University of Maiduguri and the University of Jos that were traveling for their Federation Catholic Medical and Dental Student annual convention in Enugu State, they were reportedly adopted somewhere in Benue State, not far from Otukpo, judging by their last location. This is not the first time all this is happening, but somebody warned us, somebody told us, and this is exactly what the person.
Which is it for you, Dr. Obadiah? Do you think the government is unwilling or unable to protect the people of Southern Kaduna?
In fact, it is not only unable, it is unwilling, and we have good reason to feel that they are part and parcel of the killers. Let me make some revelations to you.
That's a very big allegation, Dr. Obadiah. The government is part and parcel of the killers.
Yes.
That's big.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. How will the government just say, oh, it is revenge killing and so on? Then you leave it there. Oh, because it is revenge killing and so on and so forth. The body language of this administration, the body language of the state government shows clearly that they have a hand in the killings. No doubt about it. Because, you see, General Abacha, and people don't give him his due. Do you think you would have tolerated such nonsense? And let me make some revelations, because some of us also have our own intelligence networks.
Okay.
Have met with some of the bandits. We have met with some of their high commanders. One or two who have repented. They have sat down with us, not once, not twice. They told us that one of the northern governors is the commander of Boko Haram in Nigeria. Boko Haram and the bandits are one and the same thing. They have a sophisticated network. During this lockdown, their planes were moving up and down as though there was no lockdown. Moving ammunitions, moving logistics, moving money, and distributing them in different parts of the country. They're already in the south, in the rainforest of the south. They're everywhere. They told us that when they finish these rural killings, they will move to phase 2. The phase 2 is they will go into the urban cities, going from house to house, killing prominent people. I can tell you, this is the game plan. By 2022, they want to start a civil war in Nigeria.
Well, the evidence is there that, even though the civil war has not yet started, but the internal war by the Fulani terrorists, Olo, Leto, and Igbowo mother died because his son refused to accept that we should all be facing these monsters. That is the reason why Igbowo mother died. Nothing more than the fact that the son that was involved in Yomowo, that put his own life at risk for the millions of Yoruba people to slow down these attacks, because it was Igbowo intervention that stopped these monsters' attack on the millions of Yoruba people today. It was because Igbowo refused to backtrack, and that means he was a target for many people, especially those that knows that Igbowo would not relent and would not stop what he was asking for. And what was he asking for? Stop the killings of our people. Well, before Igbowo came out, somebody told us that if we rely on the security, we are not likely to get anything out of that. But many Nigerians refuse to listen because we all have deaf ears. But Igbowo woke the deaf ears out of us. So remember, Igbowo Daddy only know this shouldn't happen in our territory. He's not talking about the Fulani that lives in the city, but he's talking about the Fulani terrorist that doesn't want to live among us, but rather kidnap us. But we will first take you through to what this man told us as another warning. But since most of us have deaf ears, this is the reason why your participation will be important for the rally. Because the pointer of the rally is not just because we want a Yoruba nation. The pointer is because our life is no longer safe in Nigeria. We've had many cases of innocent Yorubas. The last one was Kehinde Toluwalashe. Kehinde Toluwalashe traveled from London here to Nigeria by Ghana, and he never made his way back because there was an attack of a Fulani terrorist like any other attack around the world. This attack took the life of a brother, a family. This innocent man, Ezekiel Kehinde Toluwalashe. And we say thank you so much to everyone that raised £27,000 to the family to bring the body back to bury there in London. The grandmother is not just a member of the Yoruba Nation campaign. The grandmother spoke to me a few days before the son was going to be killed by Fulani terrorists inside what is known as Nigeria's Southwest. So our brother, a father, I met the wife and the children here in London. So you might say that it is not going to affect me as a diaspora. Yes, Kehinde Toluwalashe that we have to talk about tonight also said the same thing, but the difference is that he got caught up in a terrorist bomb attack in Ibadan. Ibadan, at the beginning of this year, had a very terrible terrorist attack. And this is how the BBC in London reported Ibadan explosion in Nigeria. The roof fell on my mother in the bed. That's another family. According to the governor of Ibadan, Seyi Makinde, told us that 8 people died and homes were destroyed. These are some of the footages of what transpired. Looking at what took place in Ibadan, you might think that it might not happen again. Tuesday explosion in Ibadan, the capital of Oyo. But this is just the beginning of more death coming our way. If we all say we live in UK and Igboho that has put his life at risk will be in London, and you think that it is not worth leaving a day for him to attend the rally, or if possible with an £100 to attend a ticket event, which is a Friday, 11th of October. The date is no longer Thursday the 10th. It will now be the Friday. Nothing has changed with the date of the rally. So, gbogbo ẹni tó ní ohun ọmọ tó lóye Igboho stand for, maybe because you are not aware of what it stands for. What Igboho stand for was exactly what led to his own city, because Igboho lives in Soka in Ibadan. 2 years prior to this, Igboho was going to be killed in the same Ibadan by Buhari and Yemi Osinbajo. He was only an inch away from becoming a dead man, but that did not happen. So this man will now be in London with us, God willing, on a Saturday, whatever the weather is. It will be worth joining us so that we can tell the world that the Yoruba people, the finest people in the world, the law-abiding, many Yorubas have lived in UK for decades. We have officers, we have private sector, business holders, investment, we have them from the Gatwick Airport. The owner is a Yoruba man from Ogun State. We have Yorubas that are working with the Queen before she died. We have presently Yorubas that have got MBE. We have Anthony Joshua. All these individuals should be also present at the rally, because imagine if Anthony Joshua was also in Ibadan that day, he would have been a dead man, or probably lost some kind of part of his body that might not allow him to fight. Nobody knows when terrorists are going to attack. That is why the UK, MI5, and the security are putting every measures to make sure that this country goes into a full security vetting of people that come in, because you can't allow everybody to come into your country, especially a country like Nigeria that has, evidence of Fulani terrorists and other jihadists. We know that Mutab wanted to blow the American airline. So we don't even know who has got a visa from Nigeria that is a terrorist that is currently living with us in the UK as a sleeper cell. What took place in Toshele in Ibadan on the 16th could happen anywhere in Nigeria, but this just been one out of the millions and millions of attacks that should have happened, but Igboho stopped it because of his, activism on a peaceful means for quest to Yoruba nation. But the Yorubas think that Igboho was someone that doesn't want Tinubu to become the president because of his agitation. So many Yoruba that live in the UK that have now understand that Tinubu is still your president, but Ibadan was attacked. So you wonder why Ibadan should be attacked on a bomb explosion by the Fulani terrorists, even though Tinubu has already been the president prior before that. So Igboho no stop Tinubu from being the president, but Igboho was just trying to stop maybe what Tinubu should have done better, but Tinubu failed so far when it comes to security. And I have evidence and evidence to prove that. Because 10 months into Tinubu becoming the president, this is what we know, that over 6,000 people, 6,700 people, at an average of 700, have lost their life. And Igboho was trying to stop that. We know that the kings held a security summit sometime at the beginning of this year. The outcome of that summit, Momobai, we were all excited, we were happy. Igboho was even called to the meeting, the security summit by the king Oni of Ife, Oba Ogunwusi Ojaja II, Oni Orisha, at Ile-Ife. It was team welcome to the 2024 Security Summit. It's all about the kidnapping. Since that summit, there have been more kidnapped in Yoruba land. The last one was from Akoko, where a farmer body was found after a couple of days. How many more is happening that we are not aware of? So those in the UK, this rally will be an opportunity, regardless of your views, regardless of your political status in the country, to join us on the rally and say to the UK government that the country that was merged together through the 1914 amalgamation, and according to the late legend Obafemi Awolowo, that Nigeria is just not a nation, is a mere geographical expression. It would be a great opportunity to prove beyond doubt that maybe it is time that the UK literally intervene in the crisis that is developing in Nigeria due to many, many obstacles that is now being faced by not just the Yorubas, but by millions of innocent Nigerians. Some might say that, does that mean that that should be a dissolution, the amalgamation, or the breakup of Nigeria? Well, the country, Nigeria itself, has always been in a reverse mode, because the foundation of Nigeria, we all know, has not been a very great one to start with. The 1914 amalgamation was not a consultation with the true ownership of the people known as Nigeria. So, going through all these, let's hear what this man has to tell us regarding what we experienced, because many people thought in their mind that we will be saved by the Nigerian security. But it seems that somebody that understands any money security told us
every one of us must rise up. The armed forces are not neutral. They collude. They collude. They collude with the armed bandits. They kill people, kill Nigerians. They facilitate their movements. They cover them. If you are depending on the armed forces to stop the killings, you will all die one by one.
And that is exactly what has happened, because we are relying on the Nigerian security to protect us, which is the duty of any security operatives around the world. But it seems that relying on such is not what the government believes in. This is what the government believes that we can rely on rather than relying on our security.
The weight of Nigeria is not the weight that any normal, ordinary human being can carry, except with the help of Almighty Allah. It is evident, therefore, that the Almighty Allah is with our president.
So rather than the government of the day under President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to find a way around how to get the security working since the security failed under the leadership of another former president, Muhammadu Buhari. So you will expect that Tinubu will play a different card. Many Yoruba were excited after Lagbaja became the chief of defense staff with the hope that the strategy, things will move beyond what we saw for the 8 years of a failed leadership and a failed, Boko Haram sympathizer known as Buhari that opened up the Yoruba, that closed the Yoruba borders, yet left the borders around all the northern part to come in and out with all kind of weapons. And this also means that our life becomes more threat as we expect Tinubu to defend and protect, whether you are Yoruba, whether you are Igbo, Ishekiri, regardless of wherever you are in Nigeria. That is the role of why Tinubu is the president. But rather, this is more video evidence of more Fulanis getting into the borders. And you will ask yourself, are we sure that we are not already lost the plot and going into this danger together with Nigeria? Because it looks like we are all sinking with Nigeria, even though we can stop it. The empire that created Nigeria some 200 years have now left us to decide our fate. But it seems that Yoruba people are waiting for a particular God to come to our aid, to come to rescue us, to come to tell us what to do. But rather than listen to the president, I believe we should now listen more to Professor Wole Soyinka, because he told us in one of his videos that we have, which is being lined up as we speak right now, that what do you expect us to do? We are already in danger. We have to mobilize. This is what Akintoye wanted us to do, to mobilize until we were also infiltrated by those that knows that the more push we are going to do, the more it will slow down the Fulani activities in Yoruba land. Let's first listen to the soundtrack of not a toy gun, these are real guns, being displayed openly in an open field in Nigeria. Yet, this president goes to bed and sleeps with his family, while 20 innocent Nigerians have been added to the numbers of those that have been kidnapped. Also, like we said, Kehinde Toluwalashe died because of the negligence of the state and the federal, because Seyi Makinde, the chief security of Oyo State, that has the revenue that comes to his hands monthly or yearly on the security budget. People knew that the man living in where the explosion took place was not somebody like looked like us. Very, very suspicious. And as we say in the UK, you see it, you say it will be sorted. But many people saw it. They probably told one or two people. But as usual, Nigeria, we leave everything to God to protect us, even though we can feel it, we can see it. But because the God that we are waiting to rescue us through the security is not going to come down to rescue us, because God expects us as the humans to know and do the needful. And if anybody thinks that these individuals that we are talking about are going anytime soon, they're not going to go anytime soon. They want to be part of us. They want to live with us. They also have their own hidden agenda. And what is this agenda? A lot of people have asked the question, what is the agenda of the Fulanis? What do they really want? Are they, interested to marry Yoruba people? Are they interested to marry the other ethnic indigenous people because we are not tribes? Or are they part of those that wants to capture the land and convert those lands to their own? Evidence is pointing that that can be the reason why they are falling into the country and coming in their numbers, in their droves. This is what this man told us. Let's listen again from this point.
They drink, they fornicate, they do all the things that all human beings do. So it's not a question of religion. There's no question of anybody being truly a Muslim there. You know, even I knew a chief judge who was supposed to be leading Muslim prayers, who anytime he came to me in my official residence, he would put brandy or whiskey in a mug and be drinking, and they would smoke and all that. So I don't think it's religion. When they started this Sharia, how many of them are obeying the Sharia? How many of them? No, not none of their leaders. So it's not religion per se, but they use religion to deceive people and say Hausas were not Muslims at all. So they say, well, let's give you a superior religion, we'll give you Islam. But that didn't apply to the South, because we've had Muslims in Yoruba land even before 14th century.
So truly what we are fighting against, or what is going on, is clash of culture.
And civilizations.
And civilizations.
That's right.
Not really the Fulani versus the Igbo or the Fulani versus the Yoruba.
No.
It's clash of civilizations.
Yes, clash of civilizations and clash of cultures. Yes, you're right.
That means we have not really integrated as a people.
Never. We have never been.
So the word the Nigerian people is a fallacy. Is that what you're saying?
Yes. Because, again, in those days, you would say there have always been Igbo markets, Hausa markets in Enugu. There have always been Sabos in Shagamu. But those Sabos were occupied by Hausas. Hausas are peaceful people. We traded in Kola North. We did even the few Fulanis that came with them at that time, when you had the Sabo in Shagamu or in Ibadan here, they would still look for one Fulani man and make him their Seriki.
How did the Hausa accept
they were subdued. They were subdued.
Despite their large numbers.
Yes, they were subdued. Of course, they killed, they ruined, they extirpated their 7 kingdoms. They killed their 7 rulers and took over under the guise of religion. Another thing they used the word corruption. Oh, your people are corrupt. We are saints. Your people are corrupt. They've always used the word corruption to deceive people.
But the jihad is over. How come the Hausa man is yet to claim that Hausaness again?
It's just now that the efforts we are making in the South have begun to yield fruits. You will be surprised to hear that now in Hausa land, we now have Hausa Christians. Never had that before. Never. You now have Middle Belt Forum that are saying we are not Northerners, we are Middle Belters. We are not Northerners. Don't call us Northerners. Now, when you see a Jukum man or you see a Lantan man and you say you are Hausa or you are Fulani, he will be angry. He may even draw his dagger. Don't call me Fulani. I'm not Fulani. I'm not Hausa. What we did not know until recently is that when you call a Fulani man Hausa, he will be angry. He will say Banzani. Because he knows that I'm superior to Hausa. How can you say I'm Hausa? But before Buhari came to establish his suzerainty over Nigeria, we lumped all of them together for Northerners. And like I wrote some 4 years ago, there's no North. There's no North that we used to know. The North is dead. There's nothing called North anymore.
So there's a Fulani now standing on his own.
It's standing on his own. There's no more North. If they try any war today, oh God of mercy. The kind of cohesion you had in the army, the military in 1966, will never happen again in this country, if there is a country at all. You will not find a Hausa soldier now, an Igbo soldier going to Enugu to kill a fellow Igbo. You will not even find an Igbo soldier coming to Ibadan to kill a Yoruba man, or a Yoruba soldier going to Enugu to kill an Igbo man. It will not happen again. So the Lantan people, the Benue people will never ever allow themselves to be used by any Fulani mischief maker.
So if I'm getting you right, your argument is that the Fulani hegemony has been broken.
Dead.
If the Fulani hegemony has been broken,
yes,
does it mean that the social structure of Nigeria is about to witness a very hard hit that will lead to a new Nigeria?
Yes, for those who agree with you to the extent of the fact that there are still some people who want a Nigeria, a group that I don't belong to. But for such people, yes, with the weakening of Fulani hegemony, there could be a Nigeria that will integrate the Soba Fulanis, the town Fulanis, and still reconstruct, rebuild, and then have a Nigeria that should be. But I, as a person, as Tola Deni, believe that it will take probably 1,000 years to change the mindset of a Fulani person.
So what do they expect of us now that this war is on our doorstep? Of course, there has got to be civil mobilization. And if we keep waiting for this to be centrally handled, we're all going to become, if we're not already, slaves in our own land. That for me is personally intolerable. It's not an acceptable condition. And whatever it takes, I stand ready to contribute in any way.
And let's come back again to the discussion. So in that sense, so òun ni lórí ọ̀rọ̀ Olóyè Ìgbòho. Gbogbo àwòrán àti àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ tá à ń gbọ́ bọ̀. Ìbéèrè kan ni pé, is President Bola Tinubu still in charge while innocent Nigerians being taken away from their homes? Because the same political party has always been in charge as far back as 2018. And the evidence that pointed out as at the time told us that the same problem that was encountered by one of our mother is still the same encounter even after Buhari and Yemi Osinbajo has left. So ìbéèrè wa ni pé, is it now showing that Tinubu is just taking over from where Buhari stopped? Let's just listen, to this a little bit.
The driver felt the wagon's tires rupture and decided to park the car with the hope of changing the tires. It was like a film. In a GC, motley crowd of armed men in military uniform came out of the bush. They fired at the boot of the car. Ahead of us, 5 of them came out of the bush. Another 2 came from the rear. My daughter screamed, "Mommy, Daddy, what's going on?" There was no time to say a word. They marched us through into the bush, firing into the sky.
The same bush is still the same techniques. The same firing is still the same techniques. Let's listen to the sound of the Fulani that have just ride into Nigeria in a porous border, telling us who they are.
بإذن الله يلا هاي جاي يلا جاي ساكن جاي الحمد لله كونفا جفاكا كانشاري بإذن الله يواسط بلاندينو الحمد لله الحمد لله الحمد لله رب العالمين كونفا توبل داكي تاكي نصر الله هاي فد فماردي jaali fedde mawle dunga e Allah kono bodowu berde doggi fa fiina anni motere on jii sakiraaɓe.
These are the same sound that these our mother experienced in 2018 during the Buhari and Yemi Osinbajo government. But it looks like Tinubu hasn't changed anything, because this video is not 2 years ago. I'm talking about the video with the sound of Alhamdulillah, Allah Akbar by the Fulani jihadists, terrorists. Mo wá ń sọ fún gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá pé ṣé ẹ máa jáde pẹ̀lú wa ní October? Àbí ẹ rò pé bóyá títí October ó ṣeé ṣe kí ìjọba Tinubu ti fi ààbò sí orí ìlú? Ẹ máa rántí pé ọ̀pọ̀lọpọ̀ ẹ̀mí ló ti sọnù látara iṣẹ́ ibi táwọn mùjẹ̀mùjẹ̀ yìí ń ṣe fún wa. Ẹ jẹ́ ká lọ gbọ́n tí ìyá yìí sọ díẹ̀ sí, bóyá àwọn ìyá wa ìkejì àwọn ni wọ́n kidnap ìyá yìí. Ẹ jẹ́ á gbọ́ látẹnu ìyá yìí lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí.
5 of them came out of the bush. Another 2 came from the rear. My daughter screamed, "Mommy, Daddy, what's going on?" There was no time to say a word. They marched us through into the bush, firing into the sky. They hit me on my chest, hit my daughter on her head. Blood oozed. At this time, it was better to kill me. I shouted at one of the armed men. His response was hell. He went straight for my private part, tore my dress with his gun. The others ripped my dresses. I was left with my undies. My husband and my daughter started crying. 2 of them dug their teeth into my breasts. While attending a secondary school in Adamawa, I had lived with some Fulani, so I understood a few Fulani words. I started pleading, at least for my daughter.
Now, there is no mistake about the people that are doing this crime, this horrendous crime. Àwọn tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ bíi kò sí ẹnì kankan tó lè sọ fún wa pé àwọn ẹ̀yà kan ni. Àwọn ẹ̀yà tó ń ṣiṣẹ́ yìí náà ló ṣe ń ṣiṣẹ́ yìí. Ẹ jẹ́ á gbọ́ ohun tí arákùnrin tí wọ́n mú yìí tó ń sọ. I'm sure pé tó bá yẹ pé Fúlàní lòun, ó ṣeé ṣe kó fi sílẹ̀. So it shows that it does not matter whether you are an Hausa, you can be kidnapped. If you are Yoruba, well, you are even better off for them. If you are Igbo, well, super you. Now, what do we do at this junction? Because the expectation is that Tinubu will resolve the crisis and protect Nigerians and give us a good security system that works. But rather, it looks like Bobo Chicago is already in a deep sleep. Whether Bobo Chicago, Imilokan, is completely lost or is also still seeking the gods to come and help him fine-tune the security threat to millions of Nigerians, I don't know. But what I can tell you is that the case of this, our mother, and I won't play further on that video, took place in 2018. But Tabak Pesi Nino Nigeria, there will be much more bigger threat in the near future. Should we act now, or should we just look away as if nothing is happening? As many of you are looking away because Turu jẹ́ pé arákùnrin òun ló wà bí forefront tá à ń dárúkọ ní gbogbo ìgbà. But this, our elder statesman, Professor ADEBANJI Akintoye, pleaded with Tinubu not to go for the presidency. But Tinubu refused to listen. Then the question is, who should we blame for the death that continue to encircle Are we going to blame Tinubu, or should we put the blame on the kings? Or should we hold who responsible? Because you cannot hold Igboho responsible for the security of Yoruba land. You can hold Iba Gani Adams responsible since he is the Ààrẹ Ọ̀nà Kakanfò. He is the generalismo according to him. But it seems that he is not going to act now because he's waiting for the late Aláàfin of Ọ̀yọ́ to wake up in his sleep and give him the directives on what to do on the land. But kí ni outcome summit yìí? This summit that was held at Ile-Ife, where níbo ni wọ́n fìdí ẹ̀ sí? Is it that Tinubu has won Ọọ̀ni of Ife? I'm just saying, I don't know. That he dare not go further to allow Igboho that doesn't need the money, that is ready to go right inside the forest. He's not fighting within the city now. Igboho náà fẹ́ jà láàrin ìgboro. Ó ní ẹ̀kọ́ fóun ní àṣẹ pé kóun wọnú igbó níbi táwọn arákùnrin wà tó ń yọ wá lẹ́nu ká dẹ̀ dára fún wọn níbẹ̀. That summit gave a lot of Yoruba people hope, a massive hope. Our expectation is that a new communique will come out and will give Igboho the go-ahead. But since this summit, nothing much has come out of it again. Everything has gone quiet in Ile-Ife. Ṣé pé Kábíyèsí ṣì negotiate lórí ọ̀rọ̀ Igboho pẹ̀lú Tinubu? What is it that Tinubu is upset about? Kí ló ń bí Tinubu nú, the president, pẹ̀lú Igboho? Is it because tó bá fún Igboho láyè, àwọn ẹ̀yà tó kù lè sọ pé but Nnamdi Kanu ṣì wà níbi tó wà? But these are two different cases. Number one, offence tó ná mú Nnamdi Kanu fún, ó yàtọ̀ sí offence tí Igboho tó commit according to the federal government. Kò dẹ̀ ń ṣe federal government ní tàná ló ní Igboho commit offence, but a mọ̀ pé ìjọba wọ́n máa ń pàṣẹ gbogbo in tó bá lòkù àti ibi tí wọ́n bá gbáṣẹ́ dé wọ́n pàṣẹ fún Tinubu. So Igboho's file is still also with Tinubu, but it seems that Tinubu is too busy trying to solve the economic situation of Nigeria. So he's not ready to look into what Igboho case is all about. But you will expect that the relationship between Ooni of Ife, Ojaja II, and the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, even if for the sake of the insecurity alone, by now, Ooni should have given Igboho the all clear. Àbí Ìbà Gani Adams ló interfere láàrin méjì yẹn pé òun ò ní gbà kẹ́ jẹ́ kí Igboho lọ ṣe nígbà tóun jẹ́ ológun tóun dẹ̀ gbọ́dọ̀ lọ jẹ́ ní tó máa ṣe àbọ̀ òun gbọ́dọ̀ ṣe with fun while Igboho says he doesn't need the fun. So you can see that we are dealing with a very full-scale war tó ń bọ̀ lọ́dọ̀ wa, but it looks like Ooni of Ife, the Olorisha, the number one, has not spoken again. He has gone quiet and cold. Is there a rift between Ooni looking for the security of his people, but Tinubu is not giving it all clear? Ta ni ó ń fa ìdínà sí ilẹ̀ Yorùbá lénìí? Ṣé Bọ́lá Ahmed Tinubu ni? Because kò kí ń ṣe Ìgbòho náà sìn. Ṣé Ooni of Ife àtàwọn ọba tó kù? Ta lẹni tó jẹ́ the stumbling block? We have not left Nigeria yet, but we want to save the people. Is it the governors? The governor says that, okay, we are not going to endorse Yoruba nation, but what about the security? Why are the governors not also looking into how to resolve the security without Igboho? Because Igboho is not going to work with the governors. And I'll tell you why. Because the governors are very, very manipulative people. If the king gives the go-ahead, oh yes, Igboho will go along with that. But Boloselu come back with Igboho pé wá bá wa wọnú igbó. They will set a trap and they might want to kill him because Seyi Makinde gave the all clear on his own state when they were going to kill Igboho. So we cannot trust Seyi Makinde, neither can we trust all the other governors as well. Àwọn ọba tó ní agbègbè, àwọn ọba ilẹ̀ Yorùbá nìkan ló lè pàṣẹ fún olóyè Igboho. Because we're not saying that the governors are not good people, but they cannot be trusted. Because àwọn náà ló máa gbé ẹni tó máa ní kó pa Igboho nígbà tó bá ní kó lọ jagun. And we cannot take any chances with this individual, just as it has been done before. So tonight's program is just to remind us that all these are one reason or the other reason that you might also want to visit London if you have never done so since you have lived in the UK. You could be a student and say, well, Koiki, I don't care whatever you guys are doing. I am busy with my studies. I want to get my master's and then want to start working. But if you are still in the hope that you want to return to Nigeria at some point, you might not come back. And I'm not joking with this now. I just want you to remember that the same thing happened to Mr. Gbenga Owolabi. Mr. Gbenga Owolabi was a Nigerian diaspora that lived his life in Maryland. And I remember covering this event because the family gave me the full right to do as much on the late father, uncle. So if you're one of those diaspora or a student that lives in the UK and say, well, I don't care, no problem. But let me give you this update as at August 8, 2022. Update on the late Mr. Gbenga Owolabi death by terrorists in Nigeria. The news that we have had is that Femi, the younger brother of Gbenga Owolabi, was captured by the kidnappers in the Ogbomoso and he confessed that he is the Esu. The news is not fair. Remember that when this man and Rachel was a university student that got caught up in this death as well. These two individuals pleaded for their life, wanted to give money to be free. But I can tell you that the Fulani took the money and Gbenga Owolabi and Rachel and one other person were both murdered right inside Yoruba land in Ibadan. May their soul continue to rest in peace. The family of Gbenga Owolabi had to take the body back. He was an hotelier. No suspect arrested as we speak to you today, again in Oyo State. Even the suspect that we took through, Iskilu, Wakilu, there was a break in the jail and Iskilu, Wakilu is no longer to be found. Is he now operating with more criminal terrorists? I don't know. You can put that in the comment section. Oyo State Police Command has debunked report making the rounds on the social media that the suspected killers of Oluwole Gbenga Owolabi, an American citizen, a Nigerian, that love his country, his fatherland, just like many of you that still believe in that contraction known as Nigeria. He just wanted to return back home and pay his own quota, have a hotel, have a farm. The same day he arrived in Nigeria, the same day he was kidnapped, and about a few days later, after about 8 million naira was deposited to the hands of the Fulani terrorists, his life was taken away as well. So, on July 28th, terrorist gunmen kidnapped Owolabi and Rachel Opadele a student of Ladoke, Akintoye University Technology, LAUTECH, at Aba community in Ogbomoso. And just few days later, on the 2nd of August, both of them were murdered. The kidnappers collected 5 million naira. And as I speak to you, the family took the body back to America so that they can give our father a proper burial. I'm asking again, is this the kind of country that you want to be part of? Do you know that the family of this our late father, this was Koiki Media as reporting live from the US when the burial ceremony was going. You can see me there in the video, and behind the screen you can see that the body was returned back with the help of the American government, because there was no point to bury him in Nigeria. May so rest in peace. The funeral took place at exactly September the 30th, 2022. Next month will be 3 years that we lost. Will be 2 years. Next month, September. He died in August 2nd. So it's already 2 years. You can see how time flies. Are we at war or we're not? So why are we all denying the fact that crime is committed on our territory and we all look away as if it is not happening? I want to Oshelesi, they will never forget. And thank you so much to the Yoruba nation that also represented at this funeral through the mega rally and many other innocent people. So it might not have affected you today. Does not mean it will not affect somebody that you know. Benga Olabi, Rachel Opadile, and the bike man that took the money are just Yoruba people living on their territory, but yet their life was taken away from them. People spoke at the funeral. The family cried. But the question is, what do we do? These are the families as the burial ceremony was taking place and the Koiki Media team was fully represented in the coverage. Let me remind us, it is Rachel Opadile today. It could be you tomorrow, and it could be anybody as well. Let's listen to some of those that attended the event on that fateful day.
Thank you, sir.
Mo dẹ̀ ń sọ fún ń fi àsìkò yìí sọ fún gbogbo ọmọ Nàìjíríà, ọmọ káàárọ̀ oòjíire, àwọn ọmọ Yorùbá, àwọn ọmọlúàbí, ẹ̀yin ọ̀dọ́, n tí àwọn politician yín ń ṣe tí wọ́n fi yín ṣe, wọ́n láwọn làwọn ní Nàìjíríà, wọ́n tún láwọn làwọn ní Nigerians, wọ́n tún wá fẹ́ ní yín pé wọ́n sọ yín dẹrú nìyẹn o. Wọ́n sọ yín dẹrú, ẹrú tí wọ́n sọ yín dà wọ́n tà yín fún Fúlàní. Ṣé wàá yẹ bẹ́ẹ̀? Ẹ̀yin lẹ lè gbára yín lẹ̀ o. Ẹ̀yin ọ̀dọ́, ẹ̀yin lẹ lè gbára yín lẹ̀. Ó ti di ọwọ́ tá a wà yìí, ó ti di pé a lè wá sílé, ká jókòó sílé Amẹ́ríkà. Àwọn tàwa l'Amẹ́ríkà àfẹ́ wálé mọ́sí nítorí irú ẹ̀ lárí yìí. Ẹ̀jẹ̀ kí àwọn ọ̀rọ̀ nínú òtútù, nínú ọyẹ́, gbogbo ẹ̀ ló kówó jọ tó wá sílẹ̀ Nàìjíríà láti wá ṣe nǹkan tó máa jẹ yín tó máa ṣe láǹfààní lójú yín bẹ́ẹ̀ lójú àwọn olóṣèlú yín lójú àwọn bàbá tó jókòó lé ẹ̀tọ́ yín lójú wọn wọ́n dẹ̀ pa á dèní àti ìmọ̀ ọ̀rẹ́ni tó pa á.
Investigation kò sí. Ó lè dàbí àlá, but it's the reality. And this kept going on and on. But tó bá sọ pé àwọn èèyàn máa ní it's not like that. My question is, do we truly want to live in this kind of society? We thought Buhari was wicked. We thought Buhari was evil. But some Yoruba now says it looks like Tinubu is even much more worse than Buhari. I didn't say so, but this is what the Yorubas that are crying back home are telling us.
Àtúrọ̀mọ́ pure water báyìí pé kó lọ ra pure water wa pure water ń sìn ó ti di méjì báàgì méjì 500 kí ló tún ṣẹlẹ̀ èwo ló tún ṣẹlẹ̀ báyìí kí ló tún kọ pure water omi tá fi ń dáná omi tá fi ń dáná kí ló dé pé gbogbo nǹkan báyìí ìnira ti pọ̀ jù ìnira pọ̀ jù Lagos State yìí kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ nígbà tẹ́ ń ta pure water láti inú mọ́tò méjì 500 méjì báàgì méjì 500 láti inú mọ́tò àwọn tó máa tún tà kọ́lé ló máa tà kí ló pé ìnira á pọ̀ jù ní Nàìjíríà ìnira ti pọ̀ jù àtìgbà tí Buhari ti bọ́lẹ̀ báyìí ni Buhari ti gbé lọ́ọ̀fù ló ti gbé ìfẹ́ lọ kò sífẹ́ mọ́ ìnira ayé ti pọ̀ jù epo wọn àsọ̀rọ̀ gàrí wọn àsọ̀rọ̀ gbogbo nǹkan wọn àsọ̀rọ̀ ṣé pure water omi tá a mu lẹ́tún jẹ́ kó wọ́n omi jọ́sọ̀ omi tọ́lọ́run dá tó ń ṣe pé bóyá pé kínní òun lẹ́tún jẹ́ kó wọ́n níbo la ń lọ lórílẹ̀‐èdè Nàìjíríà níbo la ń lọ báyìí níbo la ń lọ tó bá yẹ pé ogun la máa jà tí gbogbo wèrè yìí máa fi solve tó bá yẹ pé ogun la máa jà tí gbogbo ìyà tí àwọn mẹ̀kúnnù ń jẹ yìí táàfin ní jẹ mọ́ ẹ jẹ́ ká kúkú jagun ẹ tó bá máa kú kó kú ẹ tó bá máa yè kó yè ìnira àtẹni wọn lára yóò ti pọ̀ jù ẹ̀yin nìkan lẹ ń gbádùn kí ló ṣẹlẹ̀ gan ṣẹlẹ̀ lè gbé wáyé wọlé síbẹ̀ ni why we stop to be like this Naija tí màá dùn ún jẹ Naija ìròsù ìtìjọ́ ló máa tó dùn.
I'm asking again. Why did we not have a follow-up to the security summit? Ṣé a lè sọ nísìn pé ọwọ́ Tinubu ti kó sínú security summit yẹn and that was the end of that summit? 2 years ago, àwọn family wa Rachel Opadele, ọmọ Yorùbá ni, Benga Wolabi, lives in Maryland in America, came home, employed Rachel because Rachel that should have been in the school, the former President Buhari shut down the university and the polytechnics and the LAUTECH technical school for over 1 year. She needed an extra money. Communication went from one person to the other. She was employed as a receptionist and she found her death at a very young age. Is this the kind of country that you want? This is the reason why you must come out in October 12. You have to ẹ̀dùn ọkàn yín wọ̀n gẹ́gẹ́ bí ọmọ Yorùbá in the UK for what Igboho was fighting for. As at the time the death of Opadele in the same Oyo State in Ogbomoso, do you know that Seyi Makinde has already chased Igboho out of Ibadan? Foul the assassination attempt on his life. As the chief security, I'm sure he was aware, fully aware that Igboho house was going to be invaded. So, do you blame Igboho now for the death of these two gentle and peaceful, loving, beautiful sisters? Who do we blame? Do we blame ourselves now that Igboho is speaking out? Akintoye is backing it. And this is what they asked me to tell you again in our week 13 at the Good News to Path to Prosperity ORILEEDE. Now, we are not going to probably go all night. I think we'll probably do about 2 hours. And what I'll do now is I will read this. This is what our own government would do in reverse to the current state of Nigeria when the Yoruba nation eventually become a fully independent country. And we pray that it will not be that long anymore, so that the million people that will die will be saved as quickly as possible. We shall have truly Yoruba national military and security services. As soon as our country is born, we shall strike out boldly to create a strong and respectable defense system, army, navy, air force, as well as the military and the civilian intelligence agencies. We shall equip each with exceptionally high levels of training, discipline, weaponry, equipment, loyalty to our country, and its goal of the highest quality service to our people and mastery in the defense of every square inch of our country's territory. The most important character of our military forces is that they will be so trained as to put the interests of our country as their number one objective. Since the independence of all African countries, each African country has been living with the military forces that were trained to uphold the interests of the colonial powers, rather than the interests of their country. The terrible traditions started with the armies. They were trained by the foreign imperialists in the colonial days. The foreign trained military commanders of each country, as a result of their training, locked down on the political leaders of their country and refer spitefully to them as bloody civilians. That is why after independence, the military commanders were generally impatient with the politicians, and while they were quick to carry out the military coups and kill the political leader. In Europe or in the United States, political conflict, even turmoil among the political leaders occur, and the military will never step in to restore order because of their training and their ingrained system of order and patterns of traditions. The British or the American military have utmost respect for the country's constitution, political system, and the national leaders, and therefore in the midst of the worst political storms among the politicians, they would leave the politicians to sort out things. If Britain had been an African country in the recent times and going through the political instability that Britain has been going through, the army would have intervened. Similarly, if the United States had been an African country with all the instability that is being generated around the former President Trump, the military would have taken over to restore order. The duty of the military of any country is to obey the civilian government, to defend their country, to act when ordered by the civilian government, to protect the interest of their country, or to accept their countries with abroad, and to obey and enable the constituted government led by the politicians to carry on its constitutional duties. It is not the duty of the military to restore order by killing or arresting political leaders. Seizing control of the government in our own Yoruba traditions and the history of the government by the Oba and the chiefs, with an army for the military duties, the military throughout the many centuries of our monarchy history live according to the truth stated in these above sentences. We Yoruba can proudly say that these traditions are the reason why no Yoruba military officer has ever led or significantly participated in any military coup d'etat in Nigeria history. Our ORILEEDE Yoruba military shall be trained and conditioned to live according to these traditions and to the best purposes of a strong and successful modern country. The destructive attitude, presumptions, and disrespect of country and order that the colonial administration ingrained in the military leadership of African countries in the colonial times shall be fully, definitely, and are beginly prevented from showing up in our country's military. Our country's military being from the start made up of our own men and women trained and commanded by our own men and women and not by the foreign colonial military officers and administrators, shall live in the deepest respect for our country and for its traditions. Leaders, constitution, laws, and government in Africa, our country shall be known as a country which the military keep to the boundaries of their duties and therefore has no country in which military coup is an impossibility. So, as I've given us again the background, tomorrow will be the final day of this particular topic, and we go to the week 14 next week, Monday, God willing. I want you to look at the face again. Those of you watching me right here, you might not see the faces, but the faces of these two innocent lives should not have left Oyo State. But the governor, Seyi Makinde, tó jẹ́ adarí the leadership of Oyo State, failed nínú responsibility ẹ̀ láti ṣẹ̀tọ́. Mo tún béèrè lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí, who do we hold accountable for the death of many innocent Yorubas tí wọ́n ti pa látara kò sí ààbò nílẹ̀ wa? Mo fẹ́ ká máa rò lọ́kàn o. We are all passing through this road. Everybody will stop at a particular junction. Tẹ́ bá ní ẹni agbára lẹ́nu tẹ́ ẹ̀ lò láti fi ṣàbò fún ọmọ Yorùbá. When the time comes, that power will leave you. Gbogbo àwọn tó wá ní agbára tí wọ́n mọ tán lè ṣe, all I can tell us is that we should prepare our mind for a day that will come, the day that we will say enough is enough. For now, it is called engagement, diplomacy, campaign, awareness. But there will also be a day that all that will not come in place anymore. And that means door to door, the politicians will not escape what might come for them. Because those that are being killed, their family will rise up and come after you all. Don't allow such to happen. And doubting in tó lè ṣẹlẹ̀, and doubting táwọn ọmọ Yorùbá lè ṣe. I'm not talking about the Yoruba Nation campaigners now. I've captured everybody regardless of their status, regardless of their political affiliation, regardless of their culture or tradition. They will come after one of you, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Since you refuse to protect them, each one of you would have no other choice than to be picked up at the time. Let me warn us again. We all have a role to play to protect and make sure that such death doesn't occur. But the more Tabashiwa in Nigeria, there will be multiple deaths, and there's not much we can do to that. So, Moki Bubwa, I was going to open the phone line, but I believe we should leave the phone line to probably tomorrow, God willing, when we have our Sunday broadcast. Kò sí nǹkan kan tẹ́ lè ṣe láti resolve ọ̀rọ̀ tó wà nílẹ̀. Nǹkan ẹyọ kan tó kù, òun ni pé kólúkálukú kó dá wà gẹ́gẹ́ bí orílẹ̀-èdè. There's no amount of your analysis that can save Nigeria. There's no amount of your brain power that can save Nigeria. Use those brain power to save your people in whatever indigenous group that you are. But then sọ pé ẹ fẹ́ lọ lo brain power yín, tọ́lọ́run fún yín, like Tinubu is using right now. It will all come back and bite each one of us. What we should demand for now is a full, total independence of Yoruba people out of Nigeria. You might not agree with me, but I've just taken you through a 2 hours close of the security situation that has affected our people, that is still affecting the lives of millions of our people. Regardless of whatever you believe in, Not Tinubu will fix Nigeria. Not even your father will fix Nigeria. Not even my mom will fix Nigeria. Nigeria was not meant to be fixed. The British knew what they were doing. They played the card very well. We have all fallen the trap into the card. What we should be doing right now is to tear apart this card known as Nigeria fraudulent amalgamation and return back to who truly we are as Yoruba people, as against the lies and the deceit of the British. There's no amount of you having all these political analysts that sit down invited to speak on the big platforms like the NBC, the Fox, the Sky, the BBC. There's no amount of all that can save Nigeria. Nigeria has come to its expiration. The try and lock 100 years amalgamation is done as at 2014. There is so much evidence to point to that, but we are still the ones that are renewing it, especially those of you that feel Dibo. If election is called tonight, the gullibles will also be taking their PVC that has no value, that doesn't give them any well-being, that doesn't give them any welfare. Every children that are born or have the right to live in this country take home every week £26.90 something pence, equivalent to 50,000 naira in the Nigerian money today, weekly. Those children well-being are taken care of up to a free school and a free meal. We buy the uniform and the school trousers and the shoes, but we don't pay for the school tuition fee. When you get to the university, you get at least a loan to allow you to complete the university, and you don't start paying that loan until you are paid up to a certain threshold. That means pé owó tó bá gbà láti fi lọ kàwé, ó níṣẹ́ tó máa ṣe kó tó lè máa sanwó yẹn padà. We have the security. It's coming up to almost 12:30 a.m. in Nigeria today in Yoruba land. It is already a dead place, probably apart from few places in Lagos and the city centers in Ibadan, in Akure, and some other hotspots. But the rest of the local government are dead until the cock. Kukuruku! 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 Ìgbà yẹn la máa mọ̀ pé ilẹ̀ ti mọ́. Ìgbà yẹn la máa ṣí gbogbo burglary wọn. Gbogbo yín inú prison lẹ́wà. And ẹ̀ ní jáde inú prison yẹn ọ̀hún tàbá kúrò ní Nàìjíríà. Kò sírọ́ kan táwọn olóṣèlú lè gbélẹ̀. British gbérọ́ tó jù bẹ́ẹ̀ lẹ̀ fún wa. The first election was rigged by the British government to favor the North. The Biafra are going to go, regardless of your faith or thinking that you can keep us together. Blood will flow before the end of this year. There's no doubt about it in my mind. Blood is flowing already on a daily basis. I've shown you one already with the Fulani or the Hausa or the Northerner, I don't know, the emir that was kidnapped. Am I worried about blood? No. 40,000 Palestinian people have been killed by Israel with American weapons. Fulani will kill you with the same weapon that they have been stealing from the Nigerian army, because the Nigerian army has already been infiltrated. Let's start mentioning your names briefly as we find you on the platform. This is the time to comment so that I can pick you, and I appreciate you for joining me tonight. Mokibu Wale and Consider. Mokiba Bawa Lukman, Oshigoni, Kabo Soretua, Yawa Patusi Elizabeth, thank you so much. John Oridupa. I can't do without watching you regardless of my schedule, and that means that I can only say, Kolon Ilidumare, Kuban Joti, Ugbaiti, Arani. I feel the pain of millions of you back home. I wish I could transport everything here, back there, but we know it's not going to be possible. The only thing we can transport now is not my talent, is not my knowledge, but it's for us to join hands together and fight this freedom together, and we can be free for the rest of our lives. The UK will give some of us visas to come here. America will do, but remember that 30 million Nigerians that are Yorubas might not even have passport as we speak right now. So Muki Daddy Walen Konsi. Muki, we were lecturers. I know that you cannot do much because of your current situation in Nigeria right now. But just have it at the back of your mind that your help will be made to build a new nation brick by brick, just like India did, as we told you some few days ago during my program here, How India. And it might be nice to watch that video, because when I showed you that clip, you were only listening to the soundtrack. I don't know how far my history will take me to pick on that video. It was the India independence after the 200 years of the British rule. We have a role to play. We must play that role now, and we must not allow anybody to fool us again. The end of Nigeria has finally come. The end of Nigeria is here. People might tell you that it is not yet there, but it is there already, and America will not save Nigeria when the time comes. They will remove their own citizens to start with, and they will beg every one of us to come back on the round table to finalize the dissolution of Nigeria. Nigeria will not be the first and the last country that people will leave, but many of us must understand that we will go through a bit of pain before we enjoy where we are heading to. Like I said, the role that I play might be different from your role, but we all have a full responsibility to ask all our representatives to listen to us, since that ṣe ń ṣe tọmọlúàbí. Tọmọlúàbí bá ti kúrò nínú tagbédání, I can tell you that many of you will die before your time. But tọmọlúàbí tá ṣì gbé dání is the reason why you have not died yet. Death will come for each one of you, one way or the other. You will not have enough security to protect you. Bangladesh Prime Minister tried it. She failed. You know why? Because the people in Bangladesh want to die. And when people are ready to die, then it will be difficult for you to stop them. Let us tell our politicians to come into the round table and allow a peaceful dissolution of Nigeria. We are not Nigerians, and nobody can fool us as being Nigeria. Nigeria is not who we are. Ọmọ Yorùbá ni wá, and we will do whatever needs to be done to protect and defend our territorial ground. Mo kí our Ismaila, Pastor Mo, Michael Chinedu, thank you so much. Mo kí ẹ̀yin tẹ́ darapọ̀ mọ́ mi lálẹ́. Mr. Razak Bankole, Lagos for sure, thank you so much. Oladunni Ezekiel, mo kí Momsini, mo kí Baba Akintoye lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí. I'm still trying to find that India independence so that we can gauge and understand what it means as India celebrated their independence. Mo kí Mr. Akinremi Rántí, mo kí gbogbo ọmọ Yorùbá tó ń bẹ l'Áfríkà. Mr. Jai TV, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Baba Wole Emmanuel Oluwagbamilani, the Nigerian ship capsized years back. Mo kí gbogbo ẹ̀yin tí ẹ jẹ́ lecturers tó ń fìyà jẹ. The lecturer in the UK are well preserved and respected for the great work they do for humanity. Because Engongon Lenlawa Tokuluju, because Ojuati D. So as lecturers in Yoruba land today, the services are not there. You are not well taken care of. But what we can say is that brick by brick, we will build a nation that will love lecturers and workers. So Muki wa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí. Muki Olúyọ̀lé Ìbàdàn, Ọ̀túnba Ọlámilékan Muki Isa, Muki gbogbo ẹ̀yin tẹ́ wà ní Europe, Muki àwa Seidu Adéfúnkẹ́, tọ̀wọ̀tọ̀wọ̀ ni mo fi ń kí gbogbo yín. I try to be calm tonight because when you are pained, like I am pained, I don't know about any other person, the situation is getting worse, but we are pretending as if it's not. And we've got to speak to our politicians. Let them do the needful before it is too late. Idowu Matthew, okay. Shout out to you, our beautiful sister, Godina, and many of you. I found the video already, and I'm going to roll the video out. I'm a bit tired already, but again, we still have to do what needs to be done for humanity. The death of innocent people is getting too much in Yoruba land and other part of Nigeria. And people will react. You might say nothing is going to happen and she did it and all this and all that. I can tell you that the feel of what people are telling me, they will react. How soon, I don't know. But they will react. If you think that people will just continue to take the shenanigans of this administration, regardless of whether it's this one or the previous one, people will react. Muki Awala Jire Koka. Bishop Adeshina, thank you so much for joining us tonight. Mr. Ahmed Jamil, Olawon Ibrahim, Shitu Olmaumi, Otunlate Mitope Show, Baba Kunle Shita, Yawa Titilola Show, Kunle Bakers, Ifagbemileke, Triple DRS, Easy, Elizabeth Odelola, Yawa Bright Agboma. It's been a while. Baba Wari says the survivor of this blast refused interview for fear of reprisal. The victims were rushed into by pick-up that night. I'm sure many of you remember the video of the bomb blast in Nevada. Don't be deceived. That was a terrorist attack. That is the way terrorists attack. Dizima 123 said we need the courage to dissolve the peaceful by our leader. We need that courage. Courage in life, he gets from the politicians, and the politician doesn't want to give the courage. Mokibaba Fatai, Oladusi. Eshegoni. Mokia Aziz Badeshere, Triple DRS Ayuba, Ebanki Wanti Willie. Tajudin Owolabi. I only the doer myself spoke, and I cannot love every one of you less. Mokiwa Kwelwewa. If I haven't mentioned your name, Frank Dudu, remember Babawa Adeyemi Olayemi was the first person to comment. This man as graduate doesn't have a job. Àwọn ọmọ méjì tó ti graduate ó wà lọ́wọ́ bàbá ẹ̀. Bàbá ò níṣẹ́, ọmọ ò níṣẹ́. Eventually, people will be tempted. Please do not commit crime. But again, crime is committed on a daily basis in Nigeria. Let's listen to Vantage as they were celebrating their independence some few days ago.
Our next story stays with the theme of independence, but the venue is different. You see, India is not the only country celebrating its independence today. 3 other countries are also marking their freedom. First, there's the Republic of Congo. It's in Central Africa. The Republic of Congo got its freedom from France in 1960 on the 15th of August. Therefore, the country marks its national day today. So that's one country which is celebrating the day. There are also two others in Asia, two neighboring countries that do not see eye to eye but celebrate the same Independence Day. We're talking about the Koreas. Both North and South Korea also celebrate their Independence Days today. They won their freedom from Japan on August 15, 1945. It's the day Japan surrendered in the Second World War. You see, Japan had occupied Korea in the year 1910. For 35 years, Korea was a Japanese colony, and this was a united Korea before it broke into the North and the South. The entire region was under Japanese occupation. But on August 15, 1945, Korea was free. Well, sort of. It did get freedom from the Japanese, but then it was taken over by others. The Soviets took over the northern part of the country. The US took over the south. This was supposed to be a temporary arrangement. The winners of World War II were supposed to keep Korea in a trusteeship for 5 years and then release an independent, united Korea into the world. But this never happened. Trust between the Soviets and the Americans broke down, and Korea remains fractured even today. However, both Koreas are technically independent. And that came about on the 15th of August 1945 when Japan surrendered. That is why both Koreas, North and South, celebrate their Independence Day today. Of course, their way of celebrating differs. First, let's look at North Korea. The Hermit Kingdom remains true to form. On their Independence Day, the people celebrate their old supreme leaders, Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il, the grandfather and the father of the country's current leader. That's Kim Jong-un. Kim Il-sung was the founder of this dynasty, the original North Korean overlord. So on August 15, the people of North Korea lay flowers at his statue. These visuals are from earlier today. From North Korea's capital, Pyongyang, the celebration is more sober than what you see in South Korea. The South Korean celebrations may seem familiar to other countries who gained independence. Take a look at this.
Let's add the spirit and lessons of our ancestors who achieved liberation 79 years ago to our democracy, economic power, and cultural capabilities.
In South Korea, the people are waving flags, singing and cheering. It feels more natural than the North Korean celebrations and highlights the divisions between the two Koreas. The South took note of that, and their president made an offer to the North today.
Today, I propose that authorities from both Koreas establish Inter-Korean Working Group. The government will make sure that North Korean defectors are properly protected and invited to play a role in enhancing our ability to achieve unification. As long as the state of division persists, our liberation will remain incomplete. The freedom we enjoy must be extended to the frozen kingdom of the North, where people are deprived of freedom and suffer from poverty and starvation.
President Yoon Suk-yeol says he wants to work towards the unification of the Koreas. But he also went ahead and insulted the Kim Jong-un regime and added that this unity would be possible only once Kim starts denuclearization. Well, that's not likely to happen anytime soon. So an independent and unified Korea is still a pipe dream. But at least they can celebrate independence.
Across
Well, you heard that very well without adding to it. But one thing that people need to understand, and Yoruba ni pé, this freedom is going to come. There's no doubt about it anymore. Freedom tá ń béèrè fún ẹ, ó máa dé. But it will be painful before we arrive into that freedom. There's nothing anymore that can free or save Nigeria. Nigeria has finally paid every dues for it to be broken into multiple nations. Could I say a better the indigenous people? The Biafrans are not going to listen to the government or the international community. The Arewa are not going to listen as well. And likewise, the Yorubas. They might tell you that they are slow to react. I believe that is the normal for the Yoruba side. They are slow to react. But one thing is that when this reaction comes, it will be very difficult to stop. And that is the reason why I played that Wòlíì Kasali láàárọ̀ yìí. Bí bàbá yẹn rán wa létí, ogun wẹ̀tẹ̀, ogun this, ogun that. Kò sẹ́ni tó ń pè fógun ọ̀hún. But we are already, our hands have been tied. Many people need to understand that you will not set things without involving heavy protest. Those that fought for few days, just few days alone in Bangladesh, were able to upturn everything. Gbogbo ẹ̀ pátá kò tó 1 month. Less than a month and the whole of Bangladesh became a battleground between the police, the military, and the civilians. Many people always think that the military are so crazy that they will kill everybody in one go. Maybe in the past, there's no part of the world that will look away even in the midst of all this. They will still react. If some don't, some will react. And that is exactly what we saw in how the people of Bangladesh made the final push. It was a painful push, and I can tell you life was lost, about 300. But what they were able to achieve, and they are still achieving, they did not listen to anybody. They had to listen to their own inner spirit. Àwọn tó jáde yẹn náà mọ̀ fáwọn máa bá lọ, ọ̀kan mọ̀. But at least those that are left today are now able to deal with the situation so that their demands and the reason why they were out on the street have now been achieved. They've changed the way what is known as their former Prime Minister. She's currently in India. And they're asking India to return her back to Bangladesh to face all the consequences. So these are just warnings for the politicians in Nigeria. And this warning, they will not listen until death comes close to them. mo kí gbogbo wa lẹ́ẹ̀kan sí well, that will be the final straw tonight. As I leave us again, I say, I just thought I'd show you what it means not to have weapons, but you're still able to defend yourself against the military. What we saw there were people out without one single weapon. But their prime minister was given just 45 minutes to evacuate a resident. That is just a warning for those that refuse to listen. Look about our original. She's seeking asylum into the UK from India. Shout out to those of you on the Mix LR tonight. Allahu Baba, Ogumala, and the rest of you. Let's end it tonight so that we can be back again on a Sunday broadcast and complete the final week of this Yoruba military as we prepare to go into the next week. If you're new to this platform, once again, I'm sure on a daily basis, you're picking one or two things. You can also help this platform to grow. And the only way you can help us to grow is also making your own contribution in whatever ways you can to support this platform. Also remember that sharing the program, subscribing, notification will come through or not due to the work I do, which has a lot of reason why you don't get my notification. But if you do get my notification, you are still one of those lucky ones from the millions of people that would love to listen to me. As I go again, remember, nothing has changed apart from the date of the dinner. The rally stand the same date. The dinner, instead of a Thursday, Mukibara Shegun honor. Instead, the rally the dinner might get Thursday. It has been shifted to Friday the 11th from 7 to 12 is a dinner with Igbowo, £100 per ticket per head at Kensington Hotel in central London. Then on a Saturday at 10 a.m. where the rally will kickstart from the BBC. It is important that we get the many people might not know this BBC, but I promise that I will be getting there to do, a short video that I can use frequently so that you can familiarize yourself. But the BBC that we are talking about is the BBC studio in central London, very close to the, it's called the Television Center. It is their global office. So, it is the BBC global office. I think I should show us that before I go as well. Very, very important. So, the building, some of you have seen it before, some of you have not. It's a very popular building. It's in London. The nearest train station will be the Oxford Circus. Many buses Igbabe Koja. If you're not too sure where the rally is we are not starting the rally from the Trafalgar Square as we do. We are starting from the BBC because we want to showcase from there and then move out. There will be a bus from Agbawa and Balagbawa. So if you're not too sure, like I said, there will be much more discussion on this particular venue. So Mokibu Gwale and Konsi. Remember, self-determination is not a crime. And it can never be a crime. And on that note, Ora Yonikasun, Kolon Kojiwa si Aye, Mokibu Gwale and Konsi, Kolon Kojiwa Pada, Nibataba YORUBAS lo. Mokini, Bubo continent at in different parts, different languages, but I hope that you are learning something. When truly are we going to get Yoruba Nation? I can tell you, it's just around the corner. Ọlọ́run. Inshallah, for Jesus. Let's continue to pray for Igboho. Let's continue to pray for Baba Akintoye, Otumba Demola, and all the leaders. Chief Imam was also in the Lagos State. Láti lọ sọ́dọ̀ bàbá wa Ẹlẹ́kùn Èkó. Mo kí bàbá wa Òkèbíọ̀run Kòsí. He traveled from London to also be part of the burial of our father that died. May his soul rest in peace. We love him, but that is life. We all go at different points. So, if anything is not clear, Lori Dina Abirali, you will reach out to me or Bedu, Alaja Quinara, Kentos, all the numbers that is on the screen all the time. All these numbers are there, screenshotted. If you're coming from Europe, you can always come in and go back the same day or the next day. I'm sure you can find somewhere to stay. If you're in London, or if you're coming from outside London, you can come for the rally and then go back the next day. And if you're coming for the dinner, I'm sure you can find somewhere to stay within your friends and network in London. Again, the date of the dinner has been shifted from the 10th to the 11th. So Thursday, dinner, but what to move as a Friday, where dinner for Igboho will be held. The committee are working tirelessly. We need your voluntary support for this event as well. If you want to support, there's a special place to put the donation. Bí ẹ fi support fún bọ́ọ̀sì tá máa gbé ni o, bí ẹ kàn fi donate kankan ni o. If anything is not clear, let us know. And my name again is Olami Koiki. I'll be out again tomorrow, God willing. And on that note,